Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say it. Don't think it. The Bye-Bye Man. A movie you are not going to want to say nor think in about T-minus 2 seconds. This movie looked like it had a good idea. It had a good premise. It had good shots. It had a lot of good positive things going for it. But the negative thing it had going for it was the actual performance and the actual writing. It was so retarded. This script was so over the top and ridiculous that when it first started off, you're like, oh man, this is going to be a pretty good movie. And then it went from there to, okay, this is not going to be a pretty good movie. You got Drake in here, or this guy who looked like Drake walking around, looked like Drake in 07 or 08, walking around here with these college guys, and there's some myth or legend that if you say this guy's name, I guess like Candyman, he appears. You know, I've seen this done, but a lot better. You know, and he just, if you say his name one time, you know, there he is, and if you keep thinking about him, the closer he gets to you, and he makes you see things that are not there, and then he's taking control of you. And it's just, the dumber the delivery got. I mean, there's a performance in here, and where this actress, she was the worst part of it. The lead actor, he's trying his best as this teen or this college kid who's trying to piece whatever this movie is together. The pacing is so terrible because it's like they come into knowledge of what everything that's going on when there was no conversation between them at all, but they're all in agreement about, yeah, we heard sounds, and yeah, we heard this and that, and yeah, and this dude, he's in my head, and I'm seeing stuff. It's like, well, how do we know? She hasn't really been included in anything. You talking about an undeveloped character. You know, I'm quite sure the other guy who said, look, this girl's acting is terrible. We cannot give her more solo scenes. We have to keep her in group conversation. So it's a lot of this film is probably on an editing room floor, and it's probably even worse than what was seen on the screen. This movie had potential to be really good. Like, the villain, you know, he looked impressive. The CGI work was terrible of the dog, but we won't go there. But the actual, what he looked like when he appeared and all of this stuff, he actually had the look of something that sort of like Grim Reaper-ish. So it made sense, you know, where you could go with this story, like they could continue this story and it would make sense. But I'm quite sure if they did a reboot, got a little bit of extra money, they could make this a lot better. I mean, a lot better. Because they blew an opportunity here. But I'm not going to dwell on it. The movie gets 1.5 stars from me. And that's basically off the premise alone. And they even have Trinity in there from The Matrix. And it's like, oh, wow. This is how far you have fallen. Is to this type of movie. But we're doing 3 movies. And we're going to do them all back to back to back. Next is The Patriot. Mark Wahlberg goes over to Boston situation with the Patriots Day. And a lot of people here didn't know about all the things that transpired that day. In 2013 with the bombers, they went overhead and, you know, bombed at the Boston Marathon. But the movie, to me, was done just like the documentary. The HBO documentary, if you watch the HBO documentary, there's no need to go to see the film. It really isn't, because they actually use the scenes that's from the documentary, the actual footage, in this movie. So I'm like, well, if you're going to do that effect, then, you know, I'm like, well, you're making it more like the documentary that we just saw on HBO. So why are we here in these seats? so we could see Mark Wahlberg the picture to death. You know, Wahlberg, don't care about authority, and he's got to be involved in everything. Yeah, who are you? We're Boston. Yeah, you mother effer. Yeah, I don't care about the federal government, DEA, CIA. Who are they? They don't know Boston. I got to listen to Mark Wahlberg screw up an entire film being Mark Wahlberg. But then the government, nobody wants to touch him because he's Mark Wahlberg. Like, okay, can you please tell him to calm down? And look, they listen to, okay, whatever. But I tell you one thing, he better not. I'll be like, he's the federal government. You talking to your boss. You're not the boss in this film. Oh, goodness. I'm telling you, it's amazing. But the actual movie is very impactful. Peter Berg knows how to direct. So the movie's very impactful. But the only thing that hurt it is that HBO put out the documentary already. And it basically gives you more detail as to what happened. So when you watch the film, they kind of like glance over little stories that if you saw the documentary, you're like, okay, well, we already got the background stories. We know why these things happen. So in the movie, we kind of see like what they're worried about. Like we already know what happened at that point. In this situation, the shootout was exaggerated beyond belief. All these cars blowing up, and I mean the shootout was for a long time because they did have explosives, but nobody got killed from Watertown. The Watertown police, they were just so negligent in their job and everybody else that they got away. The guy got away. The other guy, he would have lived it, didn't get ran over. He got shot in the ankle after all the bullets they fired, almost kidding anybody, women and children. And then, of course, they got to have the idiots from Boston make these little idiot quirks. Like, hey, I'm from Boston, ain't going nowhere. You got to have those idiots in the movie. And I'm like, you guys were so diligent, but you couldn't do anything, and they had to shut down the city because you couldn't find these people. Now, here's the problem I had with the police department. Everybody wanted to be hero cop. And I'm like, really? You're hero cop? A lot of people broke protocol. A lot of people don't know. They're flashing sirens around. They're going to the universities. There's a lot of things they were doing that they should have had under control from a very long time ago. That I felt too much time had went past when they had the information. When they had these guys, nobody flanked them from the side. It should have been an L7 formation from the moment the shots came through. Nobody came in from the sides. When you got guys shooting directly down at them, it's only two guys. Why did nobody flank them with a group or a team of shooters? Why it's got to be one cop? They got to be hero cop. I'm going to go over there and flank them out. And then when they came to check out the boat, here come the police with the beep, beep, beep. Why would you do that to alert people of your parent presence when you're going to try to catch a suspect and sneak up on them? There's no need to hit your alarms. And Cyrus. There's a lot of mistakes made in this film, but overall it's very impactful. I give it 3 stars out of 4. Which brings us to the latest movie I saw, which is Sleepless with Jamie Foxx. Wow. Sleepless started off as a film that it didn't know what it wanted to be. It's like, is this Taken? Is this, I don't know what it was. The only person that was there acting and was playing his part was the villain and Jamie Foxx. And what it is Jamie Foxx has taken some drugs. Him and T.I., they're cops, but they took some drugs from a deal that went down. And when they took the drugs from this guy, they didn't know it belonged to this big-time drug dealer who basically runs Las Vegas, so he wants his drugs back. So he kidnaps Jamie Foxx's son just to, show him that he means business. And he had like an hour or 10 or so many hours just to get his drugs and get it back to him. So he had the drugs. He gave him half of them. He put half somewhere else. And then he's like, where's the other half? He's like, oh, I got him out there just to make sure we get out of here alive. So he goes downstairs to get him. This one cop who thinks he's dirty and she's been following him. She finds the drugs. Movie ensues. He's married to Gabrielle Union. She's the concerned son, mom. Keep calling from work. Where is he? I'm telling him he missed his baseball game. He don't never miss a game. Where he at? He's with his daddy. Everything's cool. I got it. I'm worried. And I don't know why everybody who's a cop has wife that's an EMT, you know, and she just abandons her post, leave work, and just starts going over to the hotel where they are. And miraculously, she has a gun in the glove compartment, and then she walks into the story and become more into the storyline. Talking about undeveloped character, she is the queen of appearing in films and being a very undeveloped character in the film. You know, if she'd have done anything less, it'd have been haunting. And they had no way to put her in the film but to make it more unrealistic as humanly possible. That's what I'm saying. Things in this film happened that were so cliched and so ridiculous that it just didn't make sense. It was so over the top that it just wouldn't be real. This is like a summertime movie that used to happen from like the 80s, like Rambo or some one guy going in shooting up a bar, you know, shooting up a country and walking out with people. You know, how I got the other dude. It was some, you know, it's like on that level of like stupidity. Like they're in a Vegas nightclub, there's a shooting scene, everybody's seeing who's shooting, and there's like nothing that happens from it. You know, the cops are all outside, but no one seals the back. Where I'm like, why is everybody in the front? Nobody in the back. That just makes zero sense. It's just like they took reality out of the film and just said, look, this is a film that would have came out in June, and you just say, hey, man, it's June. And it's like, hey, man, it's January. But it's set up where it could be a sequel. I mean, the film is entertaining. Don't get it wrong. You'll be entertained, but it's not believable. So when you see things that happen that just don't make sense. Remember that movie with Halle Berry and she was the 911 operator. Next thing you know, she's out there in the field. The 911 operator's in there fighting the killer. I saw that on the previews and died laughing. Because I said, this is the phoniest thing I could have ever seen. And then, to top all that off, this is like poor writing. They're like, how are we going to get her in the script? How are we going to get her to the hotel? How are we going to make her party action? How she's going to get a gun? Well, she's dating a cop, and she probably has a gun in the glove compartment. That's probably true, even though they're not together anymore, though. Yeah, that's right. Well, that don't mean she got rid of the gun. Yep, that's right. Let's just put it in there. No one's going to notice or pay any attention to that. So, there you have it. T.I.'s terrible acting. You know, Jamie Foxx is like, I'm an Oscar-winning actor, so of course my level is where it needs to be for this role. I don't know what T.I. was doing. I guess he thought he was still T.I. in the role. Man, I can't believe you think I'd do that. I'm like, oh, please, get him. I'm glad they kept him at a very minimal position, and now I see why he wasn't really in promotions on what was going on. But overall, I give this film 2 stars out of 4. But it might be a Sleepless Part 2. We don't know. It's your boy Carcino. I'm out.